Assignment 4 by Daniel Cooper. The change I was trying to implement at my clinical placement was to get transcribed orders double-checked. The orders were only checked by one staff member once, and they were the team leader. The rest of the nursing staff would just assume that this was good enough, despite there being an area on the MAR where it was required for a double check to occur. The behavior change I was attempting to make was for all the nursing staff to double check transcribed orders. Attempting to promote safety regarding medication administration and increase their workplace culture's value of safety. I wish for the double check to just become part of their daily routine. The clinical placement I was at was the Brockville ACT team. It stands for Assertive Community Treatment Team. Their main focus is mental health within the community. The work environment is quite relaxed, and there's only a small number of nursing staff members who interact with the MAR. The need was identified when I informally surveyed the nursing staff members on what they believed to be the change needed. All the nurses agreed that a double check for transcribed orders was something that needed to be changed. Double checks aid in reducing medication errors and near misses, and they should happen on the transcribing level. Double check is a simple way to ensure that errors don't occur. Key stakeholders involved with this change project included myself, Dan Cooper, fourth year BSN student, Yvonne Donovan, a registered nurse on the ACT team who was also my preceptor, and Janet Cooper, the team leader, no relation, who approved of the change project for her team. And finally, the clients of the ACT team, as any medication errors that occur due to a lack of double check would directly affect them. Change theory utilized. I used the Lewis change theory to structure the change. This has aided me in keeping track of the change, and at the start of the project, the team was in an unfreezing stage, as they wished to make the change. However, they did not do anything about it to make it happen. Throughout my placement, the team was in a moving stage as they were adapting to the change, and currently I believe they have entered the rephrasing stage as double checks have occurred 100% every time it's transcribed for the last 2 weeks. When they were in the moving stage, this still did not happen. It was a slow progression throughout the whole time. Goals and objectives. The goal was for 100% double check rate once they've entered the refreezing stage. And as I said, I wished for a slow increase until it hit 100%, and it just became an everyday thing for them that would happen. And I guess another overall goal was to promote safety and have them value it as a workplace culture. The organizational theory used was Max Weber's bureaucracy theory. With charismatic authority, I planned on involving charismatic members of the team to aid me with the charismatic authority. The team holds their team leader's opinion very high, and Yvonne is a senior, respected member of the team. So the staff did listen to the change project. If I were just to use my own charismatic authority, the project would probably have not gone as well as at the original. When I first started there, they did not know me very well, and I was pretty low on the totem pole, as students have almost no seniority, if any. The leadership style I used was transformative. I utilized influence, although a requirement for this leadership style is charisma, which, as I stated, I probably did not have with the team at first. The key stakeholders helped me with this. The leadership style was chosen because of the supporters I had for the project. The style also has a focus of values and beliefs, which was something I was trying to change within the team, as I was trying to make safety a value. This is a Gantt chart describing all the activities and their timelines. The first task was emailing the nursing staff using Yvonne's email and placing a printout of that email in the medication room so that they could see it. After that, a second task was personally notifying the staff members, as not all of them check their emails or are working at the same time or look at the bulletin board, so this took a couple days just to make sure everyone was on the same page. Task 3 was an ongoing task. It was evaluating any changes to see if the change was happening, and task 4 was the behavioral change that I wished to happen. This is my logic model. So the outcomes that I have are a progression of percentages of an increase of double checks over my clinical placement. So I started with 50 and then 85 and then 100% was the long-term goal. Some assumptions I had was the ACT team was willing to accept this change. Possible external factors could have been the nursing staff not caring enough about the project, or the nursing staff not wanting to make a change that requires them to do extra work. The activities were, as stated in the Gantt chart, evaluating the change every Tuesday, posting a notice on the MAR, sending an email, personally notifying nursing staff of the change when a project occurs. And the participation was me, the key stakeholders, and the nursing staff. Description of events. The first step was informing the nursing staff, was, as I said before, sending out a mass email explaining the change project. The email was approved by Janet Cooper, the team leader, and it was sent using my preceptor's email. I chose to send it from Yvonne's email as she was a well-respected member of the team, and she was my preceptor, so it made sense. I also did not have an email at this placement that I could use. The email proved to be a good resource, and results had an almost immediate effect. We had an increase of double checks right after the email, and I also printed off the email and put it in the medication room, as I said before. And then every Tuesday, we did an evaluation to make sure that the change was still happening and see what stage we were in regarding Lewis's. And after the first weekly evaluation, I also put a smaller physical notice on the MAR binder, as the first weekly evaluation did not have 100%, so I thought another easy reminder would be that. I attempted to involve the staff as much as possible with the project and use them as a resource. I believe that this aided in stopping resistance. The project was received very well, and we had very little backlash. The staff had a mutual understanding with the leader of the project. This is possibly the core reason why the project was so successful. All the predicted steps of the project occurred. Every Tuesday, a check would occur. There was a total of 7 of these checks. The baseline was 0 double checks happening. There's 43 clients on the MAR, and so the way it worked was we counted how many double checks were not happening. We went through each one and see if there was a double check happening or not. It also make more sense on this graph. So this is the data we collected. So as you can see, the progression shows a decline in the amount of double checks not completed, and then the last two, there is 100% double checks happened. The change was successful as there was 2 weeks with 100% compliance. However, there is potential for this compliance rate to drop over time if they did not truly enter the freezing stage, as I believe they did. Key stakeholders, the team leader, Janet Cooper, and my preceptor, Yvonne Donovan, stated that they would continue to casually monitor and enforce the change, so hopefully it continues, and that they truly have entered a refreezing stage. 3 stages clearly be seen throughout the graph, and I believe the team is currently in their freezing stage, as they've gone through 2 of them that shows 100% double checks have been completed. Self-reflection. I believe I used the resources such as the team leader and my preceptor well. I was aware that I would need strong supporters for my project, as I was a student on the team, very low on the totem pole. If I was to attempt to complete this project without their support or involving the team, the project most likely would have been unsuccessful. I knew showing up to a clinical setting and informing the staff that they were not doing the right thing and that they were wrong without any support was not a great way to get results. Involving the team using a transformative leadership style definitely was a driving force behind the project, and due to the team's workplace culture, it probably would have failed with any other leadership style, unless perhaps a strict policy was created by the hospital that was enforced. However, I still believe that would have not have been as effective and would have made my clinical placement not as enjoyable. I'm satisfied with my approach, and I believe they respected me more by asking them for their input at the start of the project rather than stating how it was going to happen. What I learned about myself. I learned that I enjoyed using a transformative leadership style. Having spent some time in the military, I originally believed that my default leadership style would have been transactional, as that was the majority of leadership styles I've seen. I know now that I much prefer involving a team and to hear their input rather than just stating how it's going to happen. This is a good exercise on when to use authority, and I use the authority of other team members as I had almost none on the team. Despite the change going over smoothly and with no resistance, I did not have a good solid plan if the team were unwilling to comply and accept the change. If I was going to create a change project again, I would have had to think of more options on what to do if the team was not complying. Thankfully, the organizational culture was receptive to the change despite their history of not completing many everyday tasks. If they were not as receptive, I would have used Cameron and Quinn's 9-step process to aid me in changing their culture. However, changing an organizational culture can be very difficult, and it would have taken much more time, and I would have had to rethink my timelines to ensure that the change was going to happen. And here are my references.